kid. There's still men out there. God damn. When I go home, people ask me, "Hey, Hoot, why do you do it, man? Why? Just some kind of war junkie?" I won't say a goddamn word. Why? They won't understand. They won't understand why we do it. They won't understand it's about the men next to you. And that's it. That's all it is.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
I want to make it clear that the views expressed by our
Good morning and welcome to the DAWG show, where we talk about all things cannabis. I am your hostess with the mostest, the Bud Bitch. My first guest is Miss Naomi Barrick-Womack, and she is pushing the status quo one fact at a time. Naomi loves plants and she loves helping people. She is passionate about cultivating knowledge, and she is proud to serve as the Science Education and Outreach Manager for the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority, OMMA. She has a background in cannabis education and cultivation. Her journey in the cannabis industry has been both fulfilling and inspiring. Welcome to the Dog House. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Hi, thank you. Good morning.
Nice and bright and early this morning. Get the coffee going, all that good stuff. I know that you work for the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. There's some things that you can talk about, some things you can't talk about. So I'm going to let you kind of guide the conversation.
Oh, okay. I guess I'll just start by saying, but this talk today, nothing I say is representative of the agency. It doesn't represent their views or opinions. And so all of these things are from myself as an individual. So with that, I think we're good to go.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, because I've worn different hats before, and it's like, okay, well, in this kind of audience, I can't really be too political over here and so forth. So I just kind of wanted to get that disclaimer out of the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what class did you graduate from? What cohort are you part of?
Class of 2023. So last year. So I'm just
okay. You're mine. You're my peep.
Hey, what's that's so funny how we just meet new people and it's like we were all there, but it was separated, whatever.
Exactly. Exciting stuff. So what have you been doing since you graduated?
Well, I went into the master's program right after I graduated with my bachelor's. And so I've been enjoying not being a student. And that's been an interesting road. You do 24 years of school and it's like, okay, how do I spend all of this free time I didn't know I had? So that's just kind of been, I think, maybe like a character development in my story of like, okay, what do I do now? I can actually engage in my personal interests and hobbies. And at first, for a few months, I was literally just like, I don't know what to do with all this time. And so just kind of learning how to enjoy what I enjoy again, it's what it seems like.
Wow, but you're really hitting the ground running as the director of the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. That's fantastic. That's exciting stuff, Naomi. Good job.
Oh, thank you. And I'm not the director. I work in I work in our science department. No, that would be, I don't know that
Should
they would,
be. No.
I don't know that they'd give me that job. But no, I work in the science department of the agency, so I am really happy in that little pocket because that's all I get to focus on all day, every day is the science of cannabis and how it applies to the people who consume it, and then all of the different nuances of just regulations and things like that, and how, you know, understanding the science should impact, you know, how we view the plant itself and, you know, our operators, licensees, all of those things. So I'm happy
Wonderful.
just focusing on that.
And having a Master of Science in Medical Cannabis Science and Therapeutics, you were a shoo-in. What did people think of whenever you applied for that position? Or did they make that position for you?
So the current position I'm in, well, the history is pretty interesting. So I was working in the industry before I went to work for the agency, and that fall was whenever we started our, you know, our first year of the program, so 2021.
Yeah.
And I was working in a dispensary at that time. And that summer before, you know, I attended a ton of Cannabis Association meetings and was doing my best to stay on top of the new rules and regulations that had just came out. And that was right when this large unity bill came out. And so operators were just trying to figure it out. And my owner sent me to the meetings to help. Like, I really don't know. Anyway, so worked in the industry for a bit, and I just felt as we're going through the program, you know, we're getting so much good information. And I'm like, I really want a broader audience than, you know, our consistent, loyal, you know, patients that are coming in. Like, they're great. We're happy to educate them. But I personally feel like this responsibility to use this information in a way that can reach a broader audience. So just kind of going back and forth, working in the industry, and then having some connection to the rules and regs, and being like, I just feel like there's a disconnect here. Like, the messaging, there's just a hole, and we need a bridge. And so
Yes.
that was kind of, you know, my thought process when applying. I applied with a administrative assistant position. You know, I had just graduated my undergrad, so I really didn't have any professional experience at the time. So I got in and I just started making like a PowerPoint lunch and learn series, and I would just show it to people like, hey, can I present this to staff? Or we'd be learning something in class and I would start writing it on the whiteboards like, hey, check out what I'm learning in class because we have some downtime. Because I was an administrative assistant, so I didn't always, you know. And then eventually just got to the point where it's a new agency, so things were changing and moving and adjusting. And so anytime I was like, I see an opportunity to just kind of pitch something. So I'd be like, hey, you know, this is my background. This is what I can provide. Please, like, let me do that as my job here. It'll benefit you all. Just let me do it. And so I did that twice. And then the second time was how I got this specific position in the science department. And I feel like I found my home in the agency there. Because it's just been great. And, you know, the people in that department, they have, you know, science backgrounds. And so I can sit and talk to them about this, and they're excited and they understand, which is really helpful. And then we can work through problems, work through new discoveries together. And so that's just been really, really exciting.
Wow, I love that story. I'm so glad you got to share that because I can relate with so many of the points you just made there. And just kind of muscling your way in, kind of nuzzling your way in. I love that. That speaks to your character and your resiliency and your tenacity.
Thank you. Oh yeah, it's a trait. That's for sure.
So I follow you on LinkedIn, and I see you doing these wonderful teaching symposiums. That's part of your job, is to do outreach with the public.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we're still figuring out how to do. We're doing like mini experiments, is what it seems like, just trying to see how much engagement we can get with the public. And my first one was actually a veterans roundtable.
Oh gosh.
It was a lot of fun. And we held, I think, 4 veterans roundtables. So what I did was I chose just a very specific topic, and then, created information to go around that topic and how it would apply to our veteran patients. We also invited veteran licensees to come in. And it was a learning experience for sure, especially, we being in school and being in the cannabis industry, like, you understand there's the difference between state and federal. And so just seeing firsthand how those affect veterans, and then the state, like our agency is like, unfortunately, like, we can't move forward because of this federal guideline followed by the VA. And it's like, we hear you, and we want to help, but like the barriers are just ridiculous. And so I got to know a lot of our veteran patients. There were a few consistent ones that came in, and they were great. And I just appreciated them taking the time to get some FaceTime with us and tell us what's going on. Because, if we don't know what's going on, then we can't talk about it or be aware of it. And so it was nice to learn kind of what those barriers were for them, and creating those relationships and just getting to know our patients better, and our veteran patients, and just hearing their stories. I guess it was bittersweet in a way. It's like, oh, I'm so happy that you have this available, especially here in Oklahoma. There's just a lot of access for veterans. It's not, in the most convenient way, but there is access compared to a lot of other states. But it's just nice to know that, there's this one guy, he's amazing. What he does is he does fundraising year round to help pay for veterans to get their cannabis license, patient license. And so all year long, they're doing fundraising. And then, if someone comes to him, hey, I want my license, he's like, okay, we got you. And they just, cover them. And so just learning.
That's awesome.
Yes. And learning how they're supporting each other during these times, and just trying to figure it out, getting involved in the politics of it, talking to their representatives. I think veterans understand how government works a lot more than the general public. So they tend to have the right avenues or take the right actions when they want change. And so that's also really encouraging to see.
Oh, Miss Naomi, you are wonderful. And as a veteran myself, I just want to extend my gratitude. We do appreciate our advocates out there fighting for us. I'm going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk to and stay with us, Miss Naomi. We're coming back.
Stats tell that each day, 22 veterans commit suicide due to PTSD. These stats shook us and urged us to do our part. After hours and hours of thinking, Beekeeping for Veterans was born. Beekeeping for Veterans combines beekeeping with mindfulness meditation. Why combine them? Here's why. Beekeeping causes positive rush of adrenaline while beekeeping. You have to be calm during it. You are mindful of your movements. Each week, a veteran will receive a mindful meditation to build emotional and mental skill sets. Mindfulness is a set of 3 attentional skills that work together: concentration, sensory clarity, and equanimity, mental calmness, composure, evenness of temper. Every time mindfulness is practiced, we build these skills. Beekeeping for Veterans not only helps veterans overcome emotional trauma, but also aids our environment, as without bees, there is no food. Come forward. The people who have supported your country now need your support.
And welcome back, folks. My next guest is Miss Faye Berger Mitchell, who is a registered and licensed dietitian. She earned her MCST degree in 2022. Faye is taking the skills and knowledge she acquired in her nutrition private practice consulting career and is applying them in the cannabis space. Being passionate about the medical benefits of cannabis, she started a new business, Faye Canna Consulting. How exciting to provide cutting-edge medical cannabis education through her writing, individual coaching, speaking, and educational events for patients, allied health professionals, and consumers. Welcome to the Doghouse, Faye.
Thank you so much. I'm really happy to be here this morning. How are you?
Had a couple little hiccups this morning. I had my fingers crossed for you, girl.
It was just the Chrome thing. I just had to transfer over to Chrome, so we're all set. We're good.
Awesome. So, what have you been doing since you graduated? That's what I've been asking everybody. So you were a year ahead of Naomi and I. So you are
2 years.
You were
ago.
the first ones, weren't you?
No, I was the second cohort.
Okay, second cohort. Okay, so that makes us the third one.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool though. I mean, what have you been doing since you graduated, lady?
Well, I'll tell you, I when I first went into the program, and I live in Maryland, so it splashed the news everywhere when they first started the program. It was everywhere, and all of my friends texted me or sent me the link and said, "This is for you. You've got to do this. This is for you," because they knew that I was, passionate about medical cannabis. I was actually working at a dispensary at the time, or I was about to work at the dispensary because I had found medical cannabis that helped myself after a surgery. I had some complications. I lost weight, and medical cannabis helped me gain my appetite and gain my weight back. So I couldn't get my act together. It sort of was very short lead time for the application process. So I definitely couldn't get my act together for the first cohort. And I worked a year in a dispensary. And then I sort of applied for the second cohort. So unfortunately, we were during the pandemic, so we didn't have as many in-person symposium as others. But anyway, I had not been in school for many, 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 many years. So I was a little scared, I had been in school for 40 years or something, or more. 40, maybe something like that. Anyway, so I was like, this is cool. This is a no-brainer. I'm going to get out. I'm going to hang up my shingle, and I'm going to start consulting with patients, etc. Well, it's going a little bit slower than I had originally thought. I have been able to speak to some chapters of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. I'm a member of the large organization, and I will go to chapter organizations and teach dietitians about medical cannabis. And there are a lot of implications in various diseases that affect that nutritionists see people in, like particularly gastrointestinal disorders and even cardiovascular. There are some drug interactions. And so I've been able to do that. I also spoke with a local psychotherapy group. They just wanted to know about it because their patients were coming in and asking about it. And that's kind of what I hope to do, is continue to reach some of the physicians, because basically their patients are using this medicine, whether they like it or not, whether they approve of it or not. They need to know what to ask their patients. I mean, one example I give is that a lot of times cannabis is listed with alcohol and illicit drugs. And I think we need to ask about it under the supplement section of the intake form, not under the drug section of the intake, because that will allow patients to realize that they're non-biased and they can open up about that. So I'm trying to educate doctors as much as I can. I've done some writing. I did some writing for CRX magazine, Cannabis RX magazine. I did my first gig out of college was a research-based paper. I was like, what did I get myself into here? After weeks of paper. So I did some writing for that, and I've done some blog posts for another company. But the cannabis industry is a little wacky right now because the regulations are all over the place. They're changing all the time. And quite honestly, resources are being poured more into the recreational market than the medical market. And so the things are drying up. The jobs and opportunities seem to have dried up a little bit. Now, I need to go pound the pavement a little bit more, and I do plan to do that. And I do think slightly political, but there is talk about federal legalization. And as a matter of fact, I'm involved with an organization called Americans for Safe Access. And if you're, I don't know if you are, but if any of our veterans, and thank you for your service, by the way, can join and help advocate, they're an amazing organization, and they're right in DC, so they're here. And supposedly the Department of Health and Human Services should be coming, they've tasked them with coming up with regulations to get it, it's going to be rescheduled and not descheduled, meaning it's still going to be considered a drug. I know a lot of people think it should be descheduled, so that it's legal across the board. But honestly, if we reschedule it, that will allow for the medical field to open up a little bit more. That will allow for research, I think. That will allow us to figure out dosing. I just think in all of the states, it started out medical. It started out, medical. So it's a step in the right direction while things get figured out about, there's a lot we don't know about cannabis. There's a lot we know, but there's a lot we don't know. So as much as I think that it needs to be like legal across the board, I do think with the government involved, this is a good step in getting us more medically into the program. Doctors will now be not so afraid to talk about it, and patients will be less afraid to tell their doctors that they use it. So I've been doing some work with them, and it's a great organization to join. I think they have a veterans discount. It's not expensive at all, and they need all the support they can get. So, I've been just sort of spreading the word, but since I haven't been getting a lot of paid gigs, I should say, I basically decided to use my knowledge and my degree to the good of humankind. So people don't really want to pay for, they've already paid, if you're a medical patient, you're paying the state to become to certify that you're a state resident. You're paying a doctor to certify you that you're eligible for medical cannabis. And then people are like, so why should I come pay you? And they should, because the truth of the matter is the doctors, a lot of them I call pot docs. They're kind of like factories, they take a 15-minute appointment, they ask the patient what's wrong with them, and they sign off on their card. Well, I've always been about safety. That when I worked in the dispensary, I would worry, what if this interacts with some of these drugs? We're getting these elderly patients who are they tell me they have heart problems, or they tell me they have arthritis or whatever. I don't know what medications they're on, and my medical background sort of kicked in and said, this doesn't make sense. That's kind of what prompted me to go into the MCST program. I needed to know this stuff. I'm a science nerd. I'm a healthcare professional, and I just needed to know. And so because a lot of people, aren't really willing to shell out extra money, I just get a lot of inquiries from friends and colleagues that ask me questions, and I'm always happy to help. I really think we're the cart before the horse. We took we got this degree, and there really aren't a ton of jobs out there unless you're already in the industry. Like if you're a grower, if you're whatever processor, or near the dispensary, whatever, then there are jobs and you can have some upward growth. But we have to create our own jobs. And so it's really not a no-brainer like I thought it would be. But that's okay. I like a challenge. I did it before with nutrition. I can continue to do it here. So I do really think that more opportunities will come our way medically, as we really need to lobby for this legalization at the federal level. I really think that's very important.
I love that you shared that with me, because I've been kind of grappling with the difference between deregulating it or descheduling it. So I was kind of grappling with that. So you walking me through that makes it clearer from my perspective as well. That's a great point, that at least it will open up to more research and more normalcy in the medical field if we at least get it descheduled or
Yeah, I also grapple with that myself, because I really do think it should be ultimately like descheduled. But but I'm
take it
just
off.
kind of looking at it from the standpoint of how all the medical programs have worked, or how the programs have worked in each state. And it just seems, like you said, it seems like a first step. And so I
like a
jumped on
baby
the
step.
bus. I jumped on the bus on that. And it just kind of makes sense. So.
Right, exactly. Thank you for that rundown. I really enjoyed that. That's an awesome conversation right there.
Sure.
And you're doing great stuff too. All these ladies that I have on that are graduates are just trailblazers and out there making their way in the world and busting down doors and being very knowledgeable about it too. It's not just like, hey, boom, here we are. We have a lot to offer, and I think people are starting to realize that, and really listen to what we have to say. We have a message for sure, and it's backed by science. So
right, exactly.
I mean, if I were
to talk about like what my dream would be in this career, I'm not looking for a full-time job. This is my second career. I'm a little bit older. I would just love to consult with a few patients a week. I'd love to do some education for groups. I have presentations already put together, and really just present to groups of doctors or other health professionals. That's really, I just want to share the knowledge of this because people don't know about it. They don't know science,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you on that. And my door is always open. If you want to shoot me some videos, even if it's just a little 3-minute clip, I can run it during this commercial time or something, and we'll just have nutrition with Faye, and you can give tips to the veterans out here who tune in. It doesn't have to be a lot, and I do this volunteer as well. There's no pay for it. It's kind of like a therapy thing for us veterans to have a podcast and talk about what's going on in our heads and stuff. So I'm with you. We're all on. I'm vibing with you ladies so well. I am going to take a quick 5-minute break. When we come back, we're going to do a round table. So we're all going to be at the table.
In Carolina, dancing on the sand. She's a star that's slipping through my hands, like the ones that fell on Alabama. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She'll get you high as the Colorado skies, and she shines like those New York City lights. As tough as Texas, and brother, she just might knock you to the ground if you start a fight. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She'll wait there in the harbor, holding up her light. She'll bring a fallen soldier home underneath her stripes. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue. Red, white, and blue. She's my kind of girl, 'cause she's red, white, and blue. She's red, white, and blue.
And we're back, everyone, with my special guests. And we're going to have a roundtable discussion now, just whatever is on our minds. I know we were talking about descheduling and rescheduling. I want to get your input on that, Miss Naomi, since you weren't a part of that conversation, but you were listening. So what are your thoughts?
It's really interesting that this is happening now. I'm glad that the federal government's like, we need to do something, at least, talking about it, with over half the states having some sort of program. It's like, what took you so long? I did really appreciate your perspective, Faye, because, Oklahoma is a medical state. And so that's pretty much what I focus on, and trying to get the general public to understand, like, cannabis is medicine. Is really, it can be difficult at times because they don't have the background in science to understand all the implications. And so I really appreciated your perspective. But I think in general, I support descheduling, but I'm on the same lane of like, the federal government has to take its steps. And if this is a step, then, let's see what happens. But also with that, I know during the process, once the DA or the AG, whoever makes the final decision, they're going to go through rulemaking, and there's a public comment period. So I think that's kind of where, our program, people from our program or other advocates or, people that support the industry can really have a say in what that looks like. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens. If it moves to Schedule 3, then, we'll have the opportunity to share our input on their rules and regulations. And so just kind of trying to figure out what that process looks like. I printed the whole, I don't even remember how many pages it was of the HHS recommendation. And I'm like slowly making my way through it because I'm like, I want to understand, what information they're using and how they came to this conclusion just themselves, because I don't know anybody from our program that's, looked at, was a part of that project. And so, where are they getting this information and what it is? So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, we'll just see how the federal government does this and provide input when it's, the opportunity presents itself. But ultimately, I'm on the let's deschedule, make it available to everyone route, because
Right.
That's really
Exactly.
cool. I have not seen those HHS guidelines. Could you send me a link for that? Because
yeah,
I'd love to look through that. I mean, I'm in the state of government land here, living in Maryland, and that's the other thing. We want federal employees to be able to use it as medicine. And I have so many friends who are federal employees because I live in the DC metro area, and there's a lot of federal agencies around us. And so many of my friends are like, oh, I'm waiting till I retire and then I'll be able to use it. I mean, and my friend wanted just to use a cream, and he's a very, rule follower. He works for the government. He worked for the Department of Defense, and he went to the the people who are in charge of employees. I'm blanking on them, and they just said, don't do anything, So it's really important. So yeah, it's really hard to kind of figure out which way to go, but we just need to let them do their thing and then see what happens, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm thinking if it's totally descheduled and it's, off the table, there's no, stigma about it, it's no longer a controlled substance. And then, patients aren't stupid. They're going to start asking questions, but you're going to have a crazy Wild West moment. It would be totally chaos for a minute. And then hopefully things would settle down and die down. But I kind of see the pros and cons of both.
Well, can I tell you what I've observed in Maryland? Because
Yes,
I worked
please.
in a dispensary, and I love working with patients. I mean, I've done that my entire career. And so, then all of a sudden, and I would help these patients, and they'd come back and ask for me. And then all of a sudden we started counting sales, and we had whoever got the best sales in the month would get I don't know, some kind of prize. So that kind of didn't sit well with me from a medical standpoint. It's not although we know pharmaceutical companies do that, but still didn't sit well with me. So that happened, and then it became legal for adult use not quite a year ago, I think. And now I can't find the same products. Everything is really high in THC. I cannot find lower THC products. Even I used to have some of my patients try this 1-to-1 gummy, 5 milligrams and 5 milligrams. You can hardly find that anymore. So I've seen, we have different medical menu than a recreational menu, and there definitely are different products. Only patients can get tinctures in Maryland, but it's still getting harder to find the microdoses or even find doses where they can titrate up. Because that our cannabis motto is start low and go slow.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I guess I've seen what's happened. And even though I'm on both sides of the coin, let's just put it that way.
Fair enough. There's so many different variables involved, and every situation is different, so it's not really a black and white answer for anyone or really anything in this industry. And that was kind of hard for me to wrap my mind around in the beginning of getting into this space. Is okay, well, what is the right answer here? And from going through the course, everybody's different. The patient is different. Is it pain? Is it mental? And then having the team and the different healthcare people that person involves themselves with, the yoga instructor, the dietitian, your doctor, it all needs to be on the same sheet of music, really. So I really have come kind of that full circle enlightenment of everybody's different. There is no really right or wrong answer. It's what works for that person.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's, it's interesting because as much as we know is as much as we don't know with cannabis.
Yeah.
So at least now research is beginning.
Yes.
I think even each class in the MCST program, like the program has like improved every year based on student comments. And sometimes I wish I could go back and take some of the classes that they're now offering that they didn't offer when I was.
I know, me too. Like the Farm Bill. Can I listen in on that class and take notes whenever the new Farm Bill comes out? Because they're going to. You know what? Everybody who's going through our course now is going to get a total shakedown of the new Farm Bill, and I just want to kind of listen and be a fly on the wall for that discussion.
Right, and they have this integrative and medicine couple classes or something, So I guess, but I'm a self learner, and I try to do as much as I can. But I definitely am better when I'm forced to do something and somebody gives me. I have to be accountable.
You on Friday.
Yeah, it's not like, okay, I'm just going to go read this thing. Well, I do, but you know what I'm saying.
I hear you.
Like I have this. It's the New Times. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but it's the New Times Cannabis Special Edition. I wonder why this doesn't work, but it's
kind of sideways.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's the New Times Cannabis Edition, and I find myself thumbing through it and reading it, and just always, what's going on out there, what's new in the zoo, and then also this podcast is just awesome too. Talking to different people in the industries and having alumni come on, and people are just doing great things right now. Fantastic stuff.
You just gave me this great idea. I think we should have MCST put together a yearly continuing education program for some of us who've graduated. I'm sure they'd love to take on another project, but wouldn't that be cool?
That would.
I know. So there's some efforts in creating an alumni group.
Yeah, I've been to that.
Yeah,
that's where I met Holly. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So yeah, I think that might be kind of what we're moving toward, or at least offering something like that. I don't know if an alumni group would be able to provide actual CMEs, because the process to be able to give those is insane. But
that's okay. That's like everything else in the cannabis space. Just to be knowledgeable. But yeah, that's great. Yeah. So.
It would be cool.
So, I'm going to ask you ladies, would you go, after my next break, we've been taking a break every 15 minutes and we're coming up on our last one. Did you guys want to play a get to know you game when we come back?
Sure, I'm game.
Sounds good. Let's play a game whenever we get back, and stay tuned.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100 stories. It's the Pledge of Allegiance on the 4th of July. It's them handwritten letters from home. It's them sleepless nights alone. It's his newborn baby he left with his wife. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes, hey. From the fields of Indiana to the swamps of Louisiana, to the golden coast of California, Uncle Sam's the only family he's got. His purple heartbeat won't stop, and his 18th birthday was the day he was born. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, lay down, here's a line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, for these stars and stripes. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, stand on the front line. Mr. Red, White, and Blue, pay the ultimate price. Oh.
everybody, we're going to play a get to know you game with the ladies here to get their perspective and insights on different things. We're going to start with you, Faye. Stevia or indica?
Oh, indica all the way. I'm like I have this theory. I'm type A, and people who are type A and like, well, now they're so all over the place with the terpenes. That's a whole nother story. But it stops the like chatter in the brain.
Thank you. Yes. I'm with you on that one for sure. Miss Naomi, same question, stevia or indica?
So I'm like a hybrid person. I like a good mix. And in all reality, I've been looking at my COAs and I'm like, every strain I like has CBG in it. And so I'm looking, I'm looking for
that's crazy. Me too.
Yes, I'm looking for things with CBG. I don't know what it is, but it's just it just makes the experience so much better for me.
Interesting.
Oh my gosh, we're like twins or something. Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
Do your states, I don't know, I question, my state, it's on the label of the cannabis product. Do your states have it on the label?
Like the COA?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think
ours is like terpenes and cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm. I don't know that we like require it, but I know that not on the label at least, but I know some like operators will put it like a QR code that's really easy to scan.
Oh, cool. All right. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a CBD like little company on the side, and we have CBG and we have CBN, and it's not required here in Wyoming that we have the QR code with the COAs, but I have it. I mean, and it's only a matter of time. If you're doing it right, there shouldn't be any shame in your game, right?
Right.
Agreed.
And we advise people to go for, tested products. So,
Yep. And I put a little pamphlet out too, a little bit of information with the product.
We have
it in a little.
Yes, exactly.
Stars.
Exactly.
Set the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a wake and bake or evening chill, Miss Faye.
Well, evening chill. It's interesting. I don't really use cannabis as much as I used to, just for various reasons, but definitely evening chill. Definitely. Although I've had back in the day, I was both.
I love it. Awesome. Miss Naomi, same question.
I'm an evening chill gal, but I do take, so I'm venturing into the like compounds. And so I take like a beta caryophyllene tincture in the mornings just to get my body right. And then when I come home, I'm like, all right, let's chill.
Netflix and chill, right? Get those pajamas on, get those sweats on, order a pizza.
Yes.
An evening glass of wine.
Yes. And then I'm going to bed and, going to get some great sleep too.
Exactly. Wake up all refreshed and ready to go. So, Miss Faye, edible or smoke?
Smoke. I know it's not as good for you, but I feel like I can control it more.
Yeah.
And, I also have digestive issues, which is the reason that I, got into cannabis primarily, although I was no stranger to cannabis before medical cannabis, I have to admit. But I'm not, some of the ingredients and whatever, although I do think there are good ways to use edibles, I just like to be able to control to just take a very small amount and I'm done.
Perfect. I love that. I love that explanation. Miss Naomi.
Faye and I are like 3 for 3 right now because I'm also into smoking. I think it's the same thing. You can titrate better. And it's a part of the culture. It's just like a whole thing.
Satisfying, right?
Ready, whether
it's a whole ceremony. You have to get it ready
and so it's nice and you just smell the flower and track the plant. So I prefer
I love it. Yeah. I love it, ladies. You guys are awesome. Hemp or cotton, I know the answer, but just for conversation's sakes, because I'm also a hemp farmer. Hemp or cotton, Miss Faye?
Oh, hemp or cotton. I guess I'm going to say hemp. I mean, it's what we, it's what we do. It's interesting because the Farm Bill also affects a lot of nutrition programs. So
Really?
like I
Oh,
look at
yeah,
it
it
from
does.
a couple of angles, yeah, agriculture and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Yeah, it
anyway,
does.
I'll go with hemp, and I really wish we would use it more. I think we have a resource that is underutilized
Yeah.
for building, for clothing, for all sorts of things, and it's more ecologically sound.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I love that. And I think I know what your answer is going to be to that question, Miss Naomi, but give it to me.
Hemp all the way. Like, I'm trying to incorporate hemp in as many things of my daily life as possible, just because it's like Faye said, there are so many uses for it. And also I want to support hemp farmers.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
yes, and like it's so durable. There's people could go on and on for days. I'm not the expert to talk about, the current state of hemp, applications,
Sure.
but I know that it's preferred, and I support your hemp farmers, buy their products. You're going to be,
Yes.
happy with your purchase no matter what.
Thank
know
you for
what's
that plug.
interesting? You know what's interesting is that, I didn't mention it when you said this, but hemp seeds have really great nutritional properties.
Oh,
They're a great source
yes.
of essential fatty acids. So, I on the spot, I sort of, but anyway, there are also nutritional benefits to hemp. You can buy hemp hearts and hemp seeds and utilize them in that way as well.
Yep, absolutely. Good point. Appreciate that. So the last question in our game is, should medical cannabis be covered under medical insurance, Miss Faye?
Absolutely. I mean, we do need the research because it is, like we said, the wild, wild west and whatever, but absolutely. I mean, it's it's so much more beneficial in many conditions with so less side effects,
Yes, ma'am.
so absolutely 100%.
Perfect. Miss Naomi.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
this is basic healthcare at this point, and I believe we have enough research to support the fact that it's basic healthcare. It's something that to me is a right to have access to, and so yes, pay for my medical cannabis because I'm a patient and it
Yes,
helps.
ma'am.
And
Yes.
it costs less than some of those pharmaceuticals.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's safer. It's safer every time. So pay for it.
I love it, ladies. Thank you so much. What do you guys have out there that you can take this time and make an announcement about? Any events, any good news that you want to share with folks to kind of drum up interest, or you got anything going on in the future here soon? Miss Faye?
Well, I mean, I don't have anything specific right now, but I do see patients virtually. So even though
Oh,
I'm in
cool.
Maryland, I've helped people in Florida. I've helped people in a lot of different states, and I've helped them get their card if they don't know how to do that. I look at dispensary menus and I sort of give a recommendation of what to buy what's nearby. So, I like to I think people do need our help. They just don't know that they need our help.
Yeah. Yeah, I need your help.
Anytime. For you anytime.
You're amazing. Miss Naomi, anything good going on? You go into any conferences? Got any training going on? Anything?
Yeah, I've got some. So I'm a member of ASTM International. It's American Standards Testing Measurement, and they have a committee on cannabis. And so I'll be going to an emerging professionals seminar thing that they're hosting in June. And so I just found out about that. I'm really excited. And then I also want to give a plug because I support cannabis science. And I just got in last week some preliminary resources, I guess, for a study that's being conducted by the Network of Applied Pharmacognosy, partnered with the Cannabis Research Coalition. And so they're calling it the science of smokability. And so I signed up to be a volunteer to participate in this study. And so I will be experimenting this afternoon with some of the resources they provided. It is hemp-based, but it applies, it's all cannabis. And so
Absolutely.
I'm really that. So I just want to give those people a shout out for doing the research and offering, me a platform to stay involved in cannabis research. So.
Oh, fantastic. So whenever you come up with something new, on the horizon. You're going to give me a call so I can put it on the air first, right? Before anybody else?
For sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it has been a pleasure and so much fun. Thank you for sharing your time on this Sunday morning with me. And the door is always open. Miss Faye, if you want to do, well, we'll talk about if you have like a little 2-minute, 3-minute snippet that you want to add to my show, and I'll play it like in lieu of a commercial. Let me know, and we can get the word out there and keep educating folks on medical cannabis.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take care, ladies.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the show for today, everyone. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with an all-new show. And remember, you can listen to us again and again. The podcast of this radio show is available right after we go off the air tonight, anywhere that you can get your podcast episodes. And thanks for joining us today. I'd like to take a moment to talk about something close to my heart. Military Broadcast Radio is doing incredible work to support our veterans and bring their voices to the world. They rely on your generous donations and your dedicated volunteer hours to make it happen. I encourage you to consider supporting NBR in any way, form that you can. Use this QR code that's attached to the picture, or you can go to our website at mbradio.us. That's MikeBravoRadio.us to learn more about how you can donate or volunteer even just an hour a week from your home. Help make a difference in the lives of our veterans, because once again, we're all here for you and not for us. We're giving our veterans a voice.